it's 5:30, really 5:31, then we'll go ahead and start the meeting. If everyone would just bow your heads for a moment, silence. Amen. Commissioners, do I have a motion to adopt the forum agenda as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Alexander. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Whitmer. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Floor is now open for comments and/or questions. They stumble over each other, rushing up to the microphone.
Maybe we could have Seth give us a quick overview on how things are going at the lake.
Good evening, Seth Hagler, welcome to the conversation hall, where we are now getting new drywall put in the hallway. Renovations are underway. Our current conference registration for the college conference is approximately just below 500, 493. So we are excited to welcome that group in. It will be our second time hosting a previously planned entity after the storm. The first was our board meeting that was held in mid-November. So we're looking forward to having folks here and to feeling a little bit more, getting back into the routine of normalcy a little bit. With the lake, we appreciate your patience and your understanding and your partnership. It's really grateful to Kayla and Savannah for their help as we got the permitting process underway, and to Brandon, legal I don't know Brandon's firm, but legal representation Brandon for working with us. Our basically three phases of the lake work. First was the primary lake bed dredging. Second was creation of a wetland shelf on the college side. And third is the stream restoration above the pedestrian bridge. Lake bed dredging is essentially done at this point. So folks saw the rain from earlier this week starting to fill it up. And while we would love to say that that's us refilling the lake because it's done, it's not quite there yet. But we are close. We've begun the work on the wetland shelf on the far side. That's basically moving some other material and creating an 8 to 12 inch shelf with plantings that will be a really great habitat for wildlife and for birds and for plants and for sediment. One of the things that we learned in this process was, the turbidity matters in a lot of ways. Turbidity matters for the town. Turbidity matters for the environment and things like that. And so this will be a way that we can help strain some of that out and create a better, higher quality of water in Lake Susan. The last thing, then the last phase is stream bank work up above the bridge. Over time, the creek has moved over towards McAllister Gym, and this is an effort to restore it back to its previous, the word is called the Thalweg. The Thalweg is the historical low point of the stream, and so we're moving it back into where it has been historically so that it will actually run, the center of the creek will run out the center of the pedestrian bridge. So there's 3 bays. Right now it has always been on that far side for the last number of years, but this would move it back and restore it into its historical spot and rebuild some of the sides there along the bank to hopefully mitigate flood damage in future events. So that's where we are. I'm happy to take questions on that if anybody has any.
Savannah's reaching for her microphone.
I just want to thank you guys for taking that on. It's a huge project. It's going to be a net benefit for the entire town, and we're really excited about it. So thank you. And thanks for the update.
The project has gone from about 6,500 cubic yards before the storm to an early estimate of 17,000 to then 20,000, and today it looks more like we're actually going to end up excavating almost 25,000 cubic yards of sediment out of the lake.
Wow. Savannah, Richard asked me a question the other day that Seth might be able to take back. He said, is there any date in sight for the ball field to be emptied up?
So there's no specific date at this time. What the plan is for the contractor who is collecting the debris from the rights of way to make one more pass through town. That should be done in about a week. After all of the debris is placed on the ball field, then we will contact Ashbrit, who is the contractor that FEMA is using. At first, they were going to grind all of that up, but they've decided that there's not enough room around the ball field to do that safely. So now the plan is for them to haul it away. They're going to dedicate 3 trucks to that, but I would think that would take place over several days, possibly a week. Yeah, so the end is in sight, but I think realistically speaking, the time frame is between 2 weeks and a month to see that cleared.
How's the water line on Graybeard coming? Is it through, or do you know yet?
Angie's saying she believes it's through. I don't know.
Well, it looked like they were hauling grading material in there today.
Yes,
so.
I think that I know that they were close, but I haven't had an update from Barry on that. When he gets here, we'll ask him. He'll be here in just a minute.
With the walking bridge today down on Texas, and it's
Yes.
I couldn't do it.
Texas Road pedestrian bridge is gone, and it sustained quite a bit of damage in the hurricane. It was already in really bad shape, so we could not leave it there for liability reasons. We did not want anyone to get hurt, and someone was definitely going to get hurt. I hope in the future that we'll have a beautiful bridge back in place, but we'll see.
And I'll just comment that Rosie and I were walking down there about 20 minutes after they finished the demo, and I said, boy, that happened fast. And Barry said, yes, I had budgeted 2 days for it, and it took him about an hour. The material on top of the bridge was coming off like dried leaves. I mean, that's how bad a shape it was in.
I guess we saved some money from 2 days to 2 hours. Anybody have any comments or any questions of us regarding recovery or? Yes, Tom.
I'd like to know more about the bridge between
Josh, need you.
So much for sitting.
yeah, I'd like to know a little more about the bridge between the auditorium and the parking lot. You know, I cross it every Sunday with trepidation, but that's MRA, right? And when's that going to be done? And also, I'd like to hear where all these trees and the dirt from Lake Susan's going. Where does that go?
I've got one. I actually investigated that bridge with another hat on, trying to get something done to drive through, so to help car passage for disability purposes, because it's a real problem at Anderson. And nobody would claim that bridge. The college wouldn't claim it, and the MRA wouldn't claim it, at least at the time. Now, they may have changed their tune, but neither of them wanted to even talk about repairing it.
Yeah, I think that is still in some kind of a purgatory in terms of who's claiming it. But I actually, this is the first I've even heard of post-Helene damage to that. So we'll check into that. I haven't heard anything about that on our end, so we'll get back to you on that.
Which may be more a function of nobody knowing whose it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
But somebody needs to make sure their insurance covers it.
Yeah. And Graybeard water line is complete, all finished.
And where does all the
Tom,
dirt go?
So the second part of your question, one of the reasons that we were able to get this project done so quickly is because Chauncey of Chauncey Incorporated, who, if you haven't met yet, is a special guy, and he's about, what, 6'3", and has a bald head except for one patch of hair coming back this way in a ponytail. Chauncey was able to find someone in Swannanoa who could accept the fill as is. It was going to have to be, our previous plan before the storm was that it was going to have to be separated into fine and rough material, filtered for, and then filtered out even one further step and taken to Leicester, which would have been about a 3-hour round trip. Instead, it is going to Swannanoa, and it's a 30-minute round trip. And we were able to get more trucks available to us. So that's why the project has gone significantly faster than kind of anticipated. But it's going to a spot in Swannanoa that's able to use it, and it's able to use both the fine and the rough materials. And that's where it goes.
It looks really rich when they're pulling it out.
One other question. I've been helping out at other places, and these big tractors, sometimes they come on trailers, and they want to know where can we park the trailer, and whether that's the town or MRA, that can they just leave them by the gate, or for a day? Where do people?
We asked for a heads up. Yes.
Yeah.
We're glad you guys came.
We can just talk about this later. We would ask that people let us know if there's requests to park in that specific spot next to the gate, just so that sometimes we have other things going on, or just so we can plan accordingly. So generally, it's not a problem, particularly if it's just for like a day. But we'd love a heads up. Just ask us. Yeah.
Anyone else? Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn until 6 o'clock when we start our regular meeting. I have a motion from Commissioner Fouché. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second from Mayor Pro Tem Blake. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. We're adjourned until 6 o'clock. Since we don't have a flag, we'll skip the pledge tonight and start the meeting with just a moment of silence. Amen. Commissioners, you've received the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Have a motion from Commissioner Fouché. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Alexander. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to adopt the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Don't have much to say tonight other than want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And we're slowly recovering, and it's going to take a while. So like I've said down at the gate lighting, please be patient with us. There's a lot to do and really more than we can handle sometimes. And staff is doing their darndest and to make everything back to get everything back to normal as quickly as possible. So bear with us, bear with staff, and appreciate your support of all of our staff members, both in the office and on the road. And the policemen. They're very, very important to us and very dear to our hearts. Consent agenda. You want to cover that, Savannah?
I will. On the consent agenda this evening, we have the minutes of the November 14th public forum meeting and the minutes of the November 14th town council meeting. That's the consent agenda. I do not have any announcements, but I would like to thank the MRA for the use of this space for another month. We hope to be back in Town Hall soon, and I will have a more in-depth update on that eventually.
Thanks, Savannah. Commissioners, you've received the administrative reports from the administration, planning and zoning, police, public works and water, sanitation, streets, finance is pending. We did get that late, though,
They're
didn't
in
we?
there.
It's
They're
not
in there.
okay. Supplemental document for sanitation and the November building permits. Any questions on any of those?
Can, on the financials that you sent out to us yesterday, on the November report, November 24 report, we're showing under Hurricane Helene Fund 29 as you would expect, a deficit in that spending of $77,000. I'm assuming that the budget that it shows is the 250 that we put into it, plus the other monies that have come in. So where does that deficit come from? Are we going to take that out of the general fund in an action, transfer action?
Rachel and I just had a quick sidebar discussion about this, so I'll answer for her. Rachel and I and the commissioners need to have a more in-depth conversation about that. But yes, that deficit will likely need to be covered by the general fund, and more. We'll probably have more the next meeting on financials and budget amendments.
Thank you. Over the last month, I have signed the largest checks I have ever signed in my life for gravel, rock, sand, construction. It's been tremendous, and every time I do, I have to look at Angie and say, do we have the money? And we do right now. Floor is open for any public comment. Okay. Seeing nobody approach the microphone, we'll move on to our agenda. Nothing, let's see, under old business, we've got Savannah's going to present a text amendment for public hearing. Savannah?
Yes, so this is a text amendment. You've seen it before. This text amendment was submitted by Mason Blake on behalf of the Board of Commissioners to Chapter K, Article 3, Sections 300, 301, and 309 of our general ordinances. And these are updates to comply with legislative updates from the General Assembly. So I will let you all discuss and enter into public hearing if you so choose.
I don't know if anybody has had a chance to read over the text amendments, but like Savannah said, it's bringing us into compliance with what the General Assembly has done. Are there any questions? This is a public hearing on this. Hearing none, we'll move on to item. There's a suggested motion.
Mayor, I'm sorry. We have to have a vote to enter into public hearing and then a
Okay.
vote to close it.
Then you want a motion before the public hearing's ended?
Yeah, I'm going to move, we open a public hearing to discuss proposed text amendment TA
Okay.
2022-04.
Mason has made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Commissioner Alexander. Any discussion?
Mason,
Any public comment?
The only question I would have is, you sent us something earlier today about you and Brandon working to look at that text amendment. Is this another amendment that you sent out today versus the one you sent out and he looked at last month?
That was an easement amendment that I
Okay,
was
gotcha.
referring to in that
Thank you.
text today.
Thanks.
I did look at I did, just for everybody's knowledge, I did look at the text amendment carefully, reviewed the underlying legislation, and I'm sure Brandon and Kayla did as well, so it's had 3 eyes on it. I did have a couple of minor corrections, and that's why we postponed it from last month to this month. Those corrections were made, so I think we're ready to go.
I'm so sorry. You all didn't actually vote to open the public hearing. So let's hold a vote to open the public hearing, and then we can continue with discussion. We had a motion, but we didn't have a vote.
But
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Now, we go to the adoption of the ordinance, correct? Or do we close the public hearing? Need a motion to close the public hearing. I have a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Fouché. The motion was from Commissioner Widmer. Any discussion?
When I looked at this, I just I'm thankful that Mason and Brandon and Kayla were all on this. Thank you.
So the motion is to adopt with revisions ordinance number 24-12-01 for TA-2024-04. Is that correct? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Under new business now, certify election results. Savannah?
Yes, so this is just a formality. We will just confirm the certification that the Board of Elections has already done, just that we are in agreement with their hard work and their certification of results. Yes, Mason.
Mr. Mayor, we actually have to do a second item of the text amendment. We have to adopt the ordinance.
That's what I just did.
Oh, okay.
I
thought we approved the public hearing.
No, we approved the public hearing earlier, and we just made the text amendment.
You did vote to adopt the
Okay,
ordinance.
all right.
Yes,
Okay.
thank
We're
you.
Next
That
item.
got a little confusing.
Okay. Do I have a motion to move to certify the election results?
I move we certify the election results.
I have a motion from Commissioner Alexander. Do we have a second?
I second.
I have a second from Commissioner Widmer. Discussion or questions?
Yes, I brought up to Savannah yesterday that the supporting documentation in the packet was not complete. It showed the voting results for you and for Commissioner Dasher, but not for these two commissioners. So could we just make sure that that gets out to people?
Yes, that is available. You can, we can include it maybe in the Montreat Minute tomorrow, and then also, if you want to email me, I'm happy to share it with you. That's a public record, so I'm happy to email it or make you a copy, whatever you'd like.
Did you two ladies get your certificate?
We did. Does that mean we're in?
Yeah, you're in.
We're going to swear you in here in just a minute.
All those in favor of the motion to certify election results signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now we'll have oaths of office. I'm first, Kitty is second, Jane Alexander is third, and we'll do Grant Dasher later when Grant is available. Who's going to administer the oath? Angie?
Yes.
Where do you want me?
Where would you like to be?
Let's do it somewhere we can take a picture.
Yes, a nice picture. Okay. Do you want to say it, or you want me to say it and you agree? Which would you like?
I can.
I have your glasses.
You know me too well, don't you? I, Tim Helms, do solemnly and sincerely swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true witness to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established by the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of North Carolina, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, and that I will well and truly execute the duties of this office of mayor of the town of Montreat according to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, dear.
Do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it? Okay.
I, Catherine Fouché, do solemnly and sincerely swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of North Carolina, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, and that I will well and truly execute the duties of the office of Commissioner of Town of Montreat according to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do I have one to read?
No, I want you to wing it. You will? Okay.
I, Jane Alexander, do solemnly swear and sincerely swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and hear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional power and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of North Carolina, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, and that I will and truly execute the duties of the office of Commissioner of the town of Montreat according to my best knowledge and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
And we will get Grant Dasher when he drops by Town Hall, or do you want to do it at the January meeting?
We can do either way. Maybe it would be nice to do it at the meeting.
Okay.
But we'll wait.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the election of a mayor pro tem, and the oath of office. Angela, agenda materials, let's see.
So you all need to select a new mayor pro tem as a part of the organizational meeting, which follows the general election. So this is just another formality that happens after general election. You select a mayor pro tem.
Mr. Mayor? Yes. I move to elect Kitty Fouché as mayor pro tem.
I have a motion to elect Kitty Fouché. Do I have any other motions? Hearing none, I'll declare the motions closed. All those in favor of Kitty Fouché as mayor pro tem signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did you vote for yourself or did you oppose? I thought you were leaping up there to oppose it. Kitty Fouché is our new mayor pro tem. Now, is there an oath of office for mayor pro tem? Probably the most you've sworn in a long time.
Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of North Carolina, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, and that I will well and truly execute the duties of the office of Mayor Pro Tem for the town of Montreat according to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. Kitty, congratulations.
Thank you.
Mason, thanks for all you've done as mayor pro tem for the last 2 years. Really do appreciate all that help. Item D on the new business is the consideration of a disaster management firm services.
Yes, so as you all are aware, we put out a request for proposals. We received 2 responses, and this is for a disaster management firm which would help us navigate the intricacies of disaster recovery and the public assistance process with FEMA in particular. It's a very long and complex process, and my hope is that by using one of these firms, the town will be protected. We will be able to maximize the amount of money that we are getting back from FEMA that's eligible for reimbursement, and really just have experts who have done billions of dollars in these type of projects in the past who can help guide us. This is extensive, and like I said, this will be a years-long process. So having a knowledgeable professional guide us through this process, I think, would be very helpful.
The engagement of a firm to walk us through all the red tape, all the things that, all the hoops and things that we have to dot I's and cross T's to make sure that we get everything that this town deserves to be able to repair this town and get us back to normal. It's extremely important that Savannah and staff have this kind of help and guidance. These people have done it before. It's just a matter of which firm we choose. But I feel personally, I feel very, very important that this is overwhelming for staff to have to tackle. And they could do it, but we may have some crazy people by the time it's over. So we need to engage this firm. So commissioners, the floor is open for discussion.
I know there had been some conversation between Commissioner Blake and I about putting a contract into place to ensure that the town's out-of-pocket expense is limited. I spoke with Attorney Freeman about that as well. We think that that's probably doable to get something like that in place. Of course, it will be a conversation that we'll have to have with whichever firm we select. But I think that that's reasonable. And I also want to mention publicly, I know I've spoken to the commissioners about this, this would be a reimbursable expense through FEMA. They do reimburse administrative cost, and this would fall into the reimbursable administrative cost category.
Savannah, do you have any idea of how much money we're talking about could be coming our way?
We do not have a complete picture. We don't truly have a complete picture of our expenses yet because the work is still active. We just submitted our first round of invoices to FEMA earlier this week, and so we'll see what happens. But my hope is that, and I believe this is correct. I may have to come back and correct myself, and Brandon may know, but I think that the match that or the reimbursement that they're talking about right now is a 90% reimbursement, I think, from FEMA and the state emergency management. So my hope would be that we have up to 90% of our cost for everything related to recovery reimbursed by FEMA.
Aren't we still waiting on money from Graybeard years ago?
No, we finally did get all of that. Yes,
Did?
we did, just now. Yeah.
Commissioners, there are two firms, correct, to be considered?
That's right, yes. It's the firms for consideration are IEM, which is a North Carolina-based firm, and then Withers Ravenel, which I'm sure you're all familiar. They've done work for us in the past. It's a local firm as well.
Since staff has no preference, after a discussion with Savannah this afternoon, Commissioners, you're going to need to wade in and help us select a firm.
Savannah, are you familiar with the two project managers identified in the response to the RFP?
I am not personally familiar with those project managers. I did like the resumes that were included with the proposals. It seems like both firms are putting forth really experienced staff with, years of expertise to draw on. So I don't have any concerns on staff experience from either firm.
Do you think, you mentioned at our last meeting that IEM was doing work for Black Mountain, and that may provide some advantages to them or using them as a result that they're already in our backyard. Mm-hmm. Do you still feel that's the case?
I think, I was really hoping to get a third proposal to kind of round things out, but I think that they're both really strong proposals. The fact that IEM is working in Black Mountain already is convenient, but I should also mention that Withers Ravenel is also already working in Montreat on a stream bank rehabilitation project on South Carolina Terrace. So I think that with both firms, there is already some familiarity with the town and definitely with the area.
Mr. Mayor, a couple things on this. Number one, Withers is located in Asheville, so that's to our advantage as well. I just wonder, since we're small compared to any other municipality around here, is there one firm that might pay more attention to us than the other? And I don't know the answer to that. The other question I've got is that when we talked with, when Savannah discussed this with us last month, she had said that she thought they would be proposing a percentage fee of whatever they collect for us. But in fact, they both submitted hourly fees. I like the incentive of a percentage because it does give them more incentive to dig a little bit deeper and work a little harder. And I don't see that in an hourly fee. Savannah and I talked about this earlier this week, and she thought that she could probably discuss it with them and maybe get a percentage fee proposal instead of, or in addition to an hourly fee. And then thirdly, if we end up going on an hourly fee basis, which I would, as I just said, recommend against, Withers fees were much higher, or not much, but probably close to 10% higher on an hourly basis, as you probably saw in those two proposals, than IEM. But otherwise, I don't know, I'm in no position to say which firm is better.
Well, yeah, nor am I, and we're not hearing anything from staff either, but I think we need to get to the point, and I think time is important, to get a recommendation of one of the two,
Sure.
either from staff or a committee appointed by the mayor, which includes one or two commissioners and staff to interview with these firms in a one-on-one, and it can just be Savannah, but we need to get a first choice and a second choice.
And I will
we need
say,
to then be authorized as quickly as we can. You then to go negotiate a deal with the first choice, and if you can't make the deal we need to make, like Tom's outlining, that we prefer, you start talking to number two.
I think that's a completely doable plan and workable. There was a scoring matrix as part of the RFP that I did fill out, and IEM did score slightly better than Withers Ravenel, and really what it came down to was the IEM staff had more years of experience, and their technical proposal was a little bit more robust, and you guys know this from reading. And also, if you took all of the hourly rates listed in the cost table that they provided, IEM's average hourly rate was lower than Withers Ravenel's average hourly rate. So you're not bound by that scoring, but I will share that with you if that helps inform your decision. But I'm also fine with taking a minute, doing an interview maybe with a small committee and going from there.
Savannah, if I give you two commissioners to sit with you, how soon do you think you can set up meetings with those companies?
Possibly as early as tomorrow or Monday.
Okay. If it's all right with the commissioners, then I will ask that Tom and Mason sit with Savannah and go over these firms and see if we can't come to a conclusion. But I would like to have a motion that once that is done, that we go ahead and move rather than waiting another month before we meet and come together.
And what we can do is after we meet with them, I can pull the board, get a date, and maybe we can have a special meeting to get that moving.
That's fine. Does that suit the commission? Everybody okay with that? Okay.
Should we make a motion now to accept whatever you all come up with? So we don't have to have a special meeting?
Yeah. Make
Sure.
that
If
motion.
that's what you want to do, that's fine.
So can I move that
Yes, ma'am.
we accept the decision that the committee makes and move on that suggestion?
Have a motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any questions of Kitty?
You have a second?
I'll
I'm
second
going to
it.
get one.
Oh, you don't need one?
Well, I've got one.
Oh.
Jane just did. I'm listening. Any further questions or discussions? All those in favor of the motion that the committee consisting of Savannah and Mason and Tom meet with these two groups and come up with a decision, and once the decision is made by that committee, it will be accepted by this commission. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying
Wait a minute.
May I clarify, rather than accepting the decision, you'd be authorizing the town manager
yes.
to enter into an
golden tongue
to
attorney
negotiate an
speaks.
agreement.
Okay. All right. Got all that, Angela? Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. I just want to move this thing on because the longer we wait, the longer it's going to take. So, all right. Yes, sir.
Out of my paranoia, can you either poll the board or have a separate motion saying that the board ratifies the intent of what you said to summarize the last motion? I just want to make sure that it's clear for the record that the entire council was okay with that.
Absolutely. I'm going to poll the board on the last motion, starting with Mason and going down to Tom. Go ahead and ratify it.
I am in favor of ratifying.
I'm in favor of ratifying.
I'm in favor of ratifying.
Will me too serve? Okay. All right. Item E on the agenda is discussion of advisory board term limits. Who's going to lead that?
I don't know. I guess I will. So there has been some discussion amongst staff and a handful of the commissioners about an issue that we run into because we are such a small town is that we have people who are willing to continue serving in their positions on advisory boards that are having to roll off because of term limits we have in place. So I know that Tom and Mason, Mason, I think, had discussed potentially expanding the term limits, maybe changing them, or at least starting a discussion about what we can do to keep folks who want to be engaged on advisory boards, how to keep them engaged, and I'll open it up to discussion from there.
The question I have, and this is probably of Brandon, do we have restrictions based on state statute of what we can and cannot do in terms of extending terms and or eliminating term limits?
There are some boards that state statute sets a term limit for the member, but that is not the rule. Generally speaking, the state statute is silent as to how long members of those boards can serve. So long as the state statute doesn't address it, you are not required by law or any case law that I am aware of to set term limits for the people serving on those boards. I do not have in my head the boards that would have those term limits on it. The first board that comes to mind is a Board of Health. Board of Adjustment may have term limits on it, but that would be a fact-specific inquiry for those boards. But generally speaking, for like your I think your tree board, I do not think it's in that statute, but we can look at that. I don't think you should let that get in the way of a general discussion tonight.
And as you look at it, we have two boards that have term limits, and that's the Board of Adjustment, and that is a maximum of 2 consecutive terms, and Planning and Zoning, and the same thing. The others do not have any limits.
And the board, so long as it's just your town ordinance that sets those term limits, that's something you can amend, so long as the amendment would not be inconsistent with state law. And that's something I could look into.
If you would please look into that and get back with Savannah, Angela, whichever, and let them know. Then I'll get a little committee together and we'll review those and come up with some recommendations if we can extend those limits rather than having specific 1 year, 2 year limits on them.
Happy to do that.
Found too, Brandon, is we have had difficulty over the years getting someone from the ETJ or someone, even if they're not, Montreat residents, but own property in the ETJ, finding someone to serve. So another question that you might want to research when you're doing this is, could we lift those limits also? And if Alan is willing to serve until he drops over dead, that'd be great.
We'll look into that. And also, I know that there was a concern about making sure that these terms, particularly the ones that do have term limits by state statute, that they're appropriately staggered so that we don't have, all of our board members rolling off at one time and we're trying to replace the whole board. So as we work on that, we will also look at making sure everyone's staggered appropriately.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. We do just by, I don't know what's happened over time. We've got we just really need staggering. They're jumbled.
Any other comments? Any other comments on that? Okay, we'll move to item F, consideration of amending an easement and maintenance. Kayla DeChristina.
All right, Kayla, it's your time to shine.
Hey everybody, I hope you don't mind. I have my phone because like I have done in the office many times, I broke the printer in my house. So I can't print anything. All right. So I'm Kayla DeChristina. I'm the town zoning administrator, and I'm happy to be with you guys tonight for the first time in what feels like forever. So this item is a request to revise the easement agreement that was granted in February of 2023 to Gary Higgins, who is the property owner of a lot on the east side of Harmony Lane. So that was the easement that crossed Little Piney Branch so that Mr. Higgins could get access to his lot from the established right-of-way. Mr. Higgins reached out to me to get his permits for development, and I required approval from the Metropolitan Sewage District, MSD, which is the entity that people tap into the sewer lines for. So in order to get the approval for his development permits, he needed to have approval from MSD. When he reached out to MSD, MSD informed him that his access easement did not include the area of where he would need to tap into the sewer line. How that was missed, I don't know. But
I wonder if the surveyor walked over the manhole.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one. So that is what the request before you is tonight, is just to amend the easement to include that additional area. There are no changes to the terms of the easement. There's no changes to the existing area as it is, other than the addition of where Mr. Higgins would tap into MSD's sewer line. Brandon, Attorney Freeman, was kind enough to draft the amended language, and then Commissioner Blake had some additional comments, which we found perfectly amenable and good additions. Let's see. So that's what I've got. And he had to come back through the original approval process, and it will be his responsibility to pay for the easement to be recorded.
Any questions of Kayla? Any comments? Do I have a motion then?
I'll move to approve the easement and maintenance agreement amendment as amended by a revision to paragraph 1, which I've submitted to Brandon. He's circulated by email in any event. That doesn't change the substance at all, but just makes it a little bit more precise. And to authorize staff to undertake all acts necessary to accomplish the same with the advice and consent of the town council.
I have a motion from Commissioner Blake. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mayor Pro Tem Fouché. Any questions and or comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Floor is open for public comment. Anyone have any public comment? Yes, Tom?
Tom Friss, 98 Friss Road. I just want to reiterate, because I've done this before, but how grateful the town is for you. I mean, all of us in the town that see the work that you put in, the minutia you deal with, the effort, the time, and the fact that you have to run for office too just astounds me. But we are thankful, especially those of us who do little. And not only for you, but also for the staff and for the advisory board people too. We're very grateful. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. That's much appreciated. Anyone else?
Jean Norris, 192 Mississippi Road. I'm speaking tonight as the Secretary Treasurer of Land Care, and wanted to let you know that in the December meeting, Land Care considered a resolution or an advice directed to Town of Montreat, Montreat College, and the MRA, asking that as these organizations that may be seeking disaster reimbursement funding consider what needs to be done, please keep in mind, it's not a direction, it's a request, keep in mind the possibilities of adding ADA accessibility wherever it can be done. And that would mean sidewalks, footbridges, maybe some hard paths to the water, especially where we now have much smoother approaches to the water. So we're asking that the organizations think together, consider our town area as a whole, and look for those opportunities. And I know that you all looked so tired when I came in that it didn't seem fair to suggest one more thing to think about, but that is our request to you. Thanks.
Thanks, Gene. Appreciate that. Anyone else? Hearing none, seeing no one jump up, Commissioners' communications.
Tom's always anxious to thank us, and I just want to thank the people that attend these meetings. And you must not have much else to do. But I thank you for coming, and we appreciate your support.
Any other commissioner?
I just got to keep thanking the town staff for everything they've done. You see so many people doing so much hard work all the time. They're always going. They're doing so many things. I think I've seen every member of Public Works in driving one piece of heavy equipment or the other the past month or two. They're just doing everything they can, and it's just terrific, and we're just all blessed. All blessed to have.
Anyone else?
I'll just make a note that we had a kind of a first on Friday night, this past Friday night, where MRA and the town and the Montreat Adult Summer Club came together as a group and lit the gate officially for the second time. And the mayor did a countdown with about 15 or 20 kids, literally counting down, and then the mayor flipped the switch and it actually lit up the gate. Since then, we've had a couple of technical difficulties, but we'll get those resolved so that the gate will remain lit. But it just the atmosphere was wonderful with refreshments put together by the leadership of the Adult Summer Club, and it just was something that we really needed to do after the fall that we've had.
Well, I do have something to say too, and I attended the Planning and Zoning meeting on Thursday, and the text amendments that we looked at and passed tonight, they also looked at and really looked into them very deeply. So I feel really confident that we passed these text amendments. So thank you to Planning and Zoning.
What, commissioners, each one of you serve on committees like Land of Sky and different boards. Kitty, I think you're on the Presbyterian Heritage Center Advisory Board or whatever. I would like for you to contact me over the next month, before the next month meeting, and let me know if you want to continue in those positions or if you would like to switch, and if you want to switch, what your preference might be. Since we've got a town manager now, we don't have a police committee or some of those other committees we used to have, but we still have cottagers as a liaison and so forth, and I need to know your preferences for the coming year so we can make those assignments.
Do you have an updated list of those?
No, but I'm sure.
We can send one out.
Yeah, if you'll send
Yep,
it out.
we can send it out.
Thanks. Anyone have anything else? Folks, we're getting ready to go into executive session, and we don't have another room to go to. I'm like Frank Cooper used to say, we enjoyed having you, but you can't sleep here. So if y'all would mind.
If you do just really, really want to wait, you can wait out in this little lobby area. But there's
Merry
nothing exciting
Christmas.
happening.
Yes.
As y'all walk out, all these dates need to be remembered. The town hall is closed on Christmas, Wednesday, December the 25th, and Thursday the 26th. Town hall is closed for New Year's Day on Wednesday the 1st. January Town Council meeting is Thursday, January the 9th at 6. Forums at 5:30. I have a motion to go into closed session.
I have a motion to move to enter closed session in accordance with North Carolina General Statute, Section 143-31811A6, for discussion of a personnel matter.
Planning board.
Planning board's when? January 15th, planning board. Where's it going to be? Wherever. 10:15, right? 10:30. Do I have a motion to go into executive session? I've got one from Commissioner Blake. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second from Commissioner Widmer. All in favor of going into executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes carry. We are now